Hi, everyone. It's Melanie Warner. Welcome to Defining Moments TV. Today, we have a couple of very special guests. These are all authors. They're all best-selling authors who've recently released their book. They've been going out, pounding the pavement, blood, sweat, and tears. They worked so hard to finish these books, and I can't wait for you to meet them. I guarantee you that there are somebody here today that has some knowledge or some solution for you that you never knew existed before, and I cannot wait for you to hear more about them. I'd like to introduce our first guest, Tinsley English. Tinsley, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show.
Melanie, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, absolutely. So you and I met not too long ago. It's only been about 8 weeks, less than 2 months. And in that time period, you came up with your idea, you wrote your book, you edited your book, you formatted, you got your cover design. Now you've launched your book and it's hit #1 on the bestseller list. This is incredible. Woohoo! Congratulations.
Yes, it's an exciting day. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, this is the day. This is kind of like I say, it's like giving birth. Like you have a little book baby and it's been in you. Some of y'all have been pregnant for 20 years with your book idea. And I remember my dad used to say to me, it takes a woman 9 months to have a baby. And no matter how hard they try, 9 women cannot have a baby in a month. But we have proven that you can have a book baby in a very short amount of time. So congratulations on all of your progress. Very excited for you. So if you can share with us a little bit more about like a defining moment, something that happened in your life that kind of changed, direction or the trajectory of your life, if you will.
Absolutely. This book is probably about 25 years in the making of me picking up ideas and concepts here and there. I can remember being a mother in my mid 30s, working full time, being the first to drop off at daycare 6:30 in the morning, and the last to wheel into the daycare at 6:30 at night, and that's not a great feeling. And also remember lying in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, wondering if I'm being a good mother, but also being a good employee, and am I on the right track for my career? And all of these feelings and the guilt that comes with that, and having really no direction. And I really just wanted someone to be straightforward with me and give me a playbook for how to lead my team, because at that point in time I was leading a small team and I really did not feel like I had buy-in from them. And so I just really needed a woman to come alongside me and give me some straightforward advice to where I was at that time. So that was really a very clear defining moment of more women are out there that need this type of straightforward advice.
So I love that. So you became that woman to yourself, and now you've become that woman to so many other people. And soon you're going to be that woman for millions of people. So tell us about this vision, this mission for the book. Who's it for? What's it about? And by the way, y'all, today is a book launch. So you're going to get a special price. This ebook is only 99 cents. So go buy a copy. And on Amazon, you can actually, if you're in the US, buy a copy, and you can buy a copy for other people. You can actually send them the link and they can redeem it, which is super cool as a gift. So Tinsley, tell us a little bit more about the book and who it's for.
Thank you, Melanie. The book is for the woman who feels like she was promoted to leadership, even if it's a small team, without the instruction manual, without that straightforward advice. So she can use this. The book has an accompanying workbook that is free to download. So as you're reading through the chapters, you're working alongside and your memory's jogging and you're thinking about these concepts. This is for the woman who is lacking a sense of direction of what path her career is going to take. Also, the woman who is leaning on the myth that hard work alone is going to help her lead the team. Because as an individual contributor, I felt like I hung the moon to my clients. But as a group contributor, I wasn't being a very good team player. This is also for the woman who's having trouble having those difficult conversations with the people that she leads, not feeling equipped with those tools. And then finally, the woman that is having trouble dealing with setbacks or making strategic decisions that are going to affect her career and also could impact the lives of her team.
I love that. So there's definitely a lot of people out there that need this. And tell us a little bit about your journey. Like who has been there for you during this process? I know your husband's been cheering you on. Who's celebrating with you right now?
Absolutely. I've got my 15-year-old daughter, and she came up with the idea that, Mom, this is not just about a book for women in insurance, because I am a woman in insurance. This is a book that could reach out to any woman. The concept of grit, growth, and gumption. We all have these qualities inside of us. Some of us need to dial up certain areas to bring that all together into something I call G-force, and that's acceleration in your life, acceleration in your career. So I'd shout out my husband, my mother, my entire family, my daughter, and my emotional support poodle Scout.
I love it. Well, Tinsley, thank you so much. Now, I know you also have a gift today that you'd like to give to people who are getting the book. So tell us a little bit about that and how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So, as I said, the workbook comes along as a free download with the book. But also, if you go to my website at gritgrowthgumption.com, you can receive our Grit Growth and Gumption Toolkit. And that is a 3-week, 21 toolkit that comes along with journal prompts and a mini assessment to see where those areas that you're really high, like maybe you're high in the grit area, but you need the growth. So this is going to go ahead and get you started, get your brain jogging. And so you can go ahead and start applying these things. You've got Monday, Wednesday, Friday journal prompts for 3 weeks. So go ahead and start taking action in leading yourself and leading others with confidence.
I love it. To become a good leader, you've got to lead yourself first. Absolutely.
100%.
And I love that I don't think there's a lot of women out there that learn leadership, right? There's a lot of, not to stereotype it, I've noticed like growing up as a woman, we weren't really into sports as much as my brother and guys were. So they learn like how to play on a team and how to work together and be this brotherhood of being in sports teams and supporting each other. And as women, if we do more individual sports, or I was in like singing and stuff like that and playing guitar, and it was more like just a single thing. It was harder for me to understand how to implement and grow into a group when I became a CEO and a leader. So these are all things that I think are really valuable, and it's going to make a big difference in women and girls everywhere. So thank you for doing this. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. And just so your audience knows, Melanie, my mission is to get this book into the hands of 1 million women by 2026. And we would love to hit that goal before. So everybody that buys that book, if you buy a couple of copies for your friends or another woman, and they each do the same thing, it only takes a dozen or so cycles to hit that goal. So I would love for your audience to help us get there and help change the lives of women all over the world.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So not only can you buy the book, but you can become a disciple of the book and help spread the news to everybody all over the world, to other women who need this thing. Like if you're hearing other women complain about their boss, or, they could do a better job as a manager or a leader in this company, like give them the book, equip them with the tools to be able to become a leader in their own life. So congratulations. Thank you so much, Tinsley, for being here. So excited for you. And great job. You made such great progress so quickly. Tell us a little bit about your journey along the way, right? I know like this has happened so quickly. What was it like to, have this concept and actually see it come to fruition so quickly?
It was intense, but I was driven by a higher power. It was nights and weekends, Melanie. It was a lot of nights and weekends for about 8 weeks, and that's where the family comes in for the support. There was dinners made and errands run and children shuttled that I didn't have to do, so that I could get this message out. But I was very focused and very diligent and outlined it in a way that when I was ready to really start writing, I had the framework and the skeleton to hit the ground running.
That's so awesome. Yeah, you don't spend as much time spinning your wheels trying to figure things out. And the beauty is, here is Tinsley, who has a full-time job. She's a wife, she's a mother, and she still made it happen. And we found the average is really about 18 minutes a day if you're really focused on what needs to be written and extracted versus trying to just figure out what to do. People can spend hours sitting there at a typewriter blank because they don't know what to type and they're trying to overthink it all. So when you have the process step by step and you know exactly what you need to do, it just comes from you so much easier, and you can literally just extract it and download that. So awesome job. Congratulations. So proud of you.
And Melanie, I just want to add one more thing. This was not just an effort by myself. There were 12 to 13 additional women that are in my G-Force tribe who contributed to the books, and they all have amazing platforms. So they'll be featured in the book, and they can also, you can link to them on my Linktree account, and I'll provide those links to you. So dig into the book and learn about these amazing women that contributed to this mission.
That is so awesome. Congratulations. So, so proud of you. Great job. Thank you, Tinsley.
Thank you.
All right. So, Freddie, I'm going to have Freddie come up. Freddie Almazan, welcome. Thank you, Freddie, for being here.
Hi. Hey, Melanie.
Hi. So, Freddie, your book took a little longer to do.
Yeah.
You had a lot. Your book is more of a speaker platform book, and you have such an incredible story. Your story is always inspiring. I share it with people, and they don't even know you, and they just end up loving you and going, "Oh my gosh, this guy is incredible."
Thank
So,
you.
share with us a little bit about your story and a defining moment in your life.
Yeah, so a defining moment in my life was, well, it was back in 2006. I was 13. I was shot with a shotgun. It was a really traumatic incident. They never caught the person who did it, and I wasn't supposed to survive, but I did. And I became paralyzed on the right side of my face and body. And that's why I have these differences. But anyways, after the injury, I became so different and so insecure about who I was because I looked so different than everybody else at school. I forgot to mention that I was in high school when I was in high school. I think I went to high school maybe like that same year after I was released from the hospital. And so I struggled a lot with my mental health. And I came to a place where I could only see my challenges, my hurt, my struggles. And that really held me back in life. I became very depressed, and I admit that I attempted suicide on a couple of occasions. But I read this article by a psychologist named Scott Kaufman. He basically found the same thing, and he questioned why some people go through severe trauma and develop this mentality of being a victim, and other people they go through the same challenges, but they don't. And he found that the only difference is their identity. So they are, because they identify as a victim, they believe that they're a victim and they behave like victims. And this is basically who I was in my life. So when I started implementing changes into my life, little tweaks that changed my mentality into seeing that I was a person who was shot, but this wasn't my identity. When I started implementing that in my life, that really changed everything for me. And I promised myself that one day I would become the person that spoke these things that I believed I needed to hear when I was a struggling teenager. So I did. I became a youth speaker, and I shared my story with thousands of teens and young adults. And I want to branch out and share that story with several other audiences with my book.
What an incredible story, Freddie. And I know we've talked about your story a few times, and there's always somebody that, has hearing your story for the first time, right? And is just so touched by what you've been through, your courage. First of all, I'm really sorry that happened to you. I'm proud of you for stepping into this person
Yeah.
that you've become. And I know you've been able to take that story and turn it into a speech. And now, share with us how you've taken, this pain that you went through and turned it into purpose in your own life.
That's that's a really hard question. So, I think for me, like I said, I struggled a lot when I was a teenager, and I promised myself that one day I would share that because I don't think that was, I don't think that it's anything. I think that my experience is unique, but I mean, I think my experience, not many people have struggled, not many people have been shot, right? But I
Hmm.
don't think my experience is very unique. I mean, I went through adversity, I struggled, and I believed that I was the victim, but there's hundreds of people in this world who have been sexually abused, who have gone through traumas worse than I have, and I don't think that I went through anything greater, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share this knowledge that I have because I believe that I could really help a lot of people through it.
So tell us about your book. I love the name of your book. I love what it stands for. I know I thought they did a great job with the cover. So tell us about your book, who it's for, the name of your book, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I was pulling up the cover on my phone. So so you see like these gold lines, right? So the story behind that is there's this Japanese art form called kintsugi. Kintsugi, what it does is that it takes a broken pottery piece and it puts it back together with gold. It puts it back together, but it fills the cracks with gold. And oftentimes, I think that when something breaks or something, we try to hide those scars. We try to hide that it was ever broken, and we try to refine it, make it new. And this thing applies to our lives as well. When a lot of people go through something challenging, they try to hide those scars. They try to act like they never existed. They try to hide them away from people. Like, for example, I have a huge scar on my shoulder, and I was really insecure about other people seeing it, but now I kind of like wear it with pride because it shows how far I've come in life. It's part of who I am, and what Gantsuki does is there's a lot of symbolism behind that. The fact that you take something broken and glue it back together, but not just gluing it, not just fixing it, but highlighting those scars with gold. It's teaching us that we shouldn't be ashamed about our scars, but we should embrace and celebrate them.
That is so
And
beautiful.
that's
I love
the story behind my title.
that's so beautiful. So it's called Beauty in the Broken Pieces, right?
Yes, yes.
And
Beauty and the Broken Pieces, discovering strength in our scars. And it shares my story, but it also shares how I healed. So it gives strategies that people could apply into their own lifestyle today to start shifting that identity from being a victim to actually to being a victor, I would say.
that's awesome. And I love that you've been sharing your story. You go to high schools and colleges and universities, and you're going to Singapore, I heard. Like that's coming up.
Yeah.
Tell us what that journey has been like, getting out
Yeah.
on that stage and sharing this and inspiring people. What has that been like for you?
Wait, I didn't hear that last part because I just heard Singapore.
Oh yeah. So tell us about like I know you're getting on stages and you're sharing your story, which takes a lot of courage. Some people, this is their greatest fear is getting on stage. So you've been going out as a speaker, sharing your story, going to Singapore, I heard. So tell us about that. What has that been like, right, speaking on stages as well and sharing your story?
So as far as speaking on stage, the actual experience itself is tremendously scary. I mean, I've done it a lot, but it's always like it's always like I'm doing it all over again because it takes a lot of vulnerability to say that this is what happened to me, this is how I felt. So it's definitely not easy, but what gives me the courage is that I know that I don't make it about myself. Like if I don't go out and share this with people, if I hold back because I'm scared or because I'm nervous, I'm making it about myself and I'm not helping anyone. So I always go out when I speak with with that mentality that I'm doing it for other people and that it's not about me. But about Singapore, to answer that question, I was hired by the Rotary convention, the convention. I think that's what they call it. But anyways, they have a convention in Singapore in May, and they hired me for it.
That's awesome.
And
Congratulations.
I think on their website or something, they have like they list out the speakers, right? And this lady found me and she went to my website and she pre-ordered my book. And I emailed her and I wanted to read her email if that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's like, okay, so I asked her, how did you find out about me? Something like that. I didn't say those words, but along those lines. But anyway, she talked about how her friend is a Rotarian and she's going along with her. And she's like, I was looking over the list of speakers and was completely drawn to you. My son was assaulted in February of 2023 by a stranger. He was hit in the face with a pipe that shattered his maxilla and then beat up while on the ground. He has permanent damage with facial pain and a quarter of his mouth is numb. My son has been dealing with a lot of depression and anger over the last year. We watched your video together and your words spoke to him so deep. He sat there speechless, slowly nodding his head.
Mhm.
Afterwards, we talked, and he felt that for the first time ever, he met someone who really understood what he has been going through. You have given him hope for the future that he will find peace again. Come to hear you speak is my main objective at the convention. And I thought that was amazing to hear that
Wow.
her son was moved by this. But that's not it. We continued talking, and she later told me that her son, he found hope after watching that, and that he started going to see a counselor who specialized in PTSD and depression. And she said that she's starting to see small changes in him each week, which gives her hope as well.
Oh my gosh, Freddie, I
That's
love
really
that.
cool.
See, and that's the thing. That's what I mean about turning your pain into purpose, right? And that you've been out there speaking and sharing your story. And now you have people that have been wanting your book. Now you have your book. You have another way for people to get your story in a different format between maybe they hear you speak and now they get your book and then they'll hear you speak. So it's just amazing, like what happens when you, like you said, you get out of yourself and your own fear and you realize like internalizing these things you said, it's not helping you, it's not helping them. And I think by getting that focus on helping other people, it heals us. It becomes this cathartic experience as well. So I think that's awesome. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Thank
And
you.
is there anything else you want to share with us or any kind of any kind of launch special or anything like that that you want to talk to people about?
Yeah, so for I haven't decided for 24 hours of the week. I think maybe I'll do a week, but for some days, my book will be launching for $1.99 for the ebook only. The ebook will be $1.99 and the paperback book will be $9.99. And I think I'll be doing that for a week and then that'll go up to full price.
So you're going to discount it for the launch. So the ebook is $1.99 and there's a lot of links and a lot of valuable content in there. And then the print book, $9.99. So it'll be under $10. So it's affordable. It's a great gift. You heard him say, as if you know somebody who's going through these feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt or depression, and and sometimes people get off the signs, sometimes they don't. If you're working with teenagers or young adults that are trying to fit in and try to figure out how do they make their own way in the world, it can be a very confusing time. I mean, Freddie, you're starting in high school, which is hard enough, having gone through this thing of being shot and then having a stroke, and you look different, you talk different, you walk different in your mind, your words, right? And it made you realize through this process that being different doesn't have to mean it's bad. It can mean being different is special. And you took the beauty from your own broken pieces of what you felt like this is something that broke in your life and created this beautiful piece of art, which represents the beauty from the broken pieces and the whole story of kintsugi and how that works together and becomes art and celebrating your scars. So I just want to commend you and say congratulations. I think it's amazing what you've done. I know you're going to inspire so many people. we're just honored to be here in this journey with you and wish you such great success in all that you're doing. Thank you again so much for being here, and big congratulations on your book, your ebook and your print book, and good luck in Singapore. Can't wait to hear how that goes as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Freddie. Thank you, authors. Okay, we're going to bring up our next author, Mamta Goyal. Oops, Mamta, let me unmute you. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Melanie.
Absolutely. Now, also, some of you are saying, how in the world did they do all of this, right? We're helping everybody go through this. So you can also hop on our website, mydefiningmoments.com, if you want more information about how to write your own book. That's another way that you can find a little bit more about the process, because we're going through it fairly quickly today. So these are people that have been working on their books, some of them a few weeks, some of them a few years. So it just depends on where you are in that journey, but we can definitely help you do that. So without further ado, welcome, Mamta. Thank you again for being here, and congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about a defining moment for you.
So my leadership journey started, my book is about leadership, and my journey started really early. In ninth grade, a school teacher ridiculed me publicly about misunderstanding the title of an essay. So after distributing the grades to everyone else in the class, she made me stand up. And subsequently, she read the whole entire essay slowly and expressively to illustrate the mismatch of the content with the title. Throughout this recital, I felt it was like eternity to me, and I wanted the ground to just like split open, and I wanted to just disappear into it. I felt absolutely and utterly humiliated. I mean, there are like 30 students in the class, and she was doing, this went on for like 10 minutes. So I learned that when leaders give feedback the wrong way, they can scar us for a long time. And that affected even the writing of this book, right? I was afraid, sort of, to get things out on paper. But unfortunately, like this kind of a scenario is a sad reflection of reality. 60% of first-time managers do not receive any leadership training, which results in like at least 77% of employees being disengaged. So my book is about helping these first-time managers to get through that hump.
So it's for first-time managers, right? And what's the name of your book called?
It's called Discover Your Inner Leader, From Inexperience to Influence, 5 focus areas for a new manager.
I love it. That's so awesome. And, we talk about leadership and how critical leadership is, and it can make or break your experience in your life, in your job, in your career, on a sports team, even teachers. We don't always consider teachers as leaders, but look at the negative impact this teacher had on you your whole life, right? And the power that comes from those kind of episodes. So what was that journey like for you? How did you work through that fear of imposter syndrome or negative thoughts or fear of rejection, like all the things that stop most people from ever finishing their book? How did you use these tools that you're creating for people to help you get past your own fears and get your book done?
Yeah, so throughout my childhood, right, like I was a class monitor and, captain of sports teams. Then I also moved to another new country, like from India to here, to USA, and worked through a lot of different companies, also did my master's here to learn about the culture. So throughout all of this, I learned about different cultures. And that episode really made me very cognizant of people and like how they think, and listening to people, trying to understand what they're going through, like what's the root cause of things, right? Like why are people behaving a certain way? So that, and throughout, like through my journey of being captain and like being manager in different companies, I paid a lot of attention to people. And that showed through in the teams, like all the teams that I worked in, people still come to me like from 30 years ago, and they tell me that was the best team that they ever worked in. That was the team they grew the most in. And to hear that, and they keep wanting me to write, they kept wanting me to write a book about it. So that helped me. And like the final thing was, one day I was having a one-on-one with a very experienced person. And I asked them, like, what do they see themselves as 1 year from now, 3 years from now? And they went quiet. And then after a few moments, they said, no manager has ever asked me what I want.
Ooh.
And that was like,
First question, don't you think? That should be
yes,
the first question.
right. And I was like, I am now going to write a book. That was like sort of the final, impetus to write the book.
I love that. I love that so much. So you've been working on it for a while. I know you had a lot of setbacks and you had personal challenges. You had, personal like grief and losing
Yes.
people in this process. And like, you were just determined no matter what kept getting thrown your way, like you had setback after setback after setback, And so I'm really proud to see you here today. This is like bringing so much joy to my heart because I know out of everybody here, your journey has taken you longer, like to get it actually out of you and to fruition has been, a long process for you. So we're definitely celebrating with you. And your book has already hit #1 on the bestseller list. So you're a best-selling author. So what did that feel like when you got your book, when you first received that hard copy in the mail? What was that experience like?
Oh my God, it was so exciting. And I felt just like this year's worth of, thing that is out there, right, that I can share with people. Just very, very motivating even for me, myself.
I love it. I love that feeling. It's always my favorite part. It's almost like when you have a baby. It's
Yes.
like giving birth to your little book baby. There's so much pride and joy, and it's just an amazing moment. So I love that. I love seeing those videos too from people when they get their first, their book in their when it first arrives. And I remember that feeling when I first got my first book, and there's nothing quite like that for sure. So tell us a little bit more too. You also have a special gift that's going to help people in leadership. Tell us a little bit about that and what you want to offer people who do get the book today during the launch. What does that look like for you?
So if anybody buys like 10 books or more, and they send me a receipt at Mamta, at mamtagoyalcoaching.com, then I will do a free assessment of their team's health and effectiveness.
That's awesome. So those assessments can cost quite a bit of time, energy, and money to do. So that's a really critical gift. So if you buy 10 copies, and what's your book right now is your print book is going for what? What's your print book price?
$9.95.
$9.95. Okay, so buy 10 copies. So that's less than $100. You're
Yes.
gonna get not only the book for your team and for the managers and leaders and make everybody a leader on your team, but you're also going to get the free assessment for your business. So no matter how big or small your company is, that's a really great, very valuable gift. So thank you for doing that. And you can send her an email at mamta@mamtagoyalcoaching.com.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to share with our readers about your journey today to celebrate you, Mamta?
So it's just like if you have disgruntled employees, you have every decision lands on your desk, like you never feel satisfied with your work, and you have fully booked calendars, this book will give you simple steps, practical steps that you can apply right away to get to a state where your team gets engaged again, they are motivated again, and you will find ways to grow yourself and your team.
And I love it too, because in the book, right? This is in your book. There's also charts and graphs. There's tools inside the book. So it's beyond just reading a book. There's actually practical tips and tools that you can use that make a difference. And I love you've got some really great illustrations in here as well about communication. So you guys, this is your chance to get the book. This is a great price to get it. It's going to be half what it normally would go for. more than half of what it would sell for. I think it's a $25 book.
Yes.
So most of our business books are going for that. So this is your chance to buy it in bulk for many people. And by the way, if you have a job and you're not thrilled with your boss, get them this gift of a book. Like give them the book as a gift. Like, hey, I thought you might like this book. It's a very subtle way to help them become a better leader, right? And get some brownie points in the meantime. Well, thank you, Mamta. I'm so excited and so happy for you. What a great day for you between you've got your ebook and your print book, I think, ready to go. So they'll have
Yes.
the option of either one, and we have a special price for both. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Mamta. Congratulations. And
Thank
best of
you.
luck to you on this journey. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we got one more author, last but not least, and we actually have another one that was going to be here live with us that couldn't be here. So I'm going to share with her information with you in a minute. First, I want to bring in Dr. Helene Bertrand. Thank you so much for being here. Love to see your smiling face. So tell us a little bit about a defining moment in your life.
I think the most important defining moment in my life was when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I started getting pain in my lower back. And after I gave birth to her, I still had pain. And sometimes the pain was bearable, sometimes it was unbearable. I couldn't even roll over in bed. I couldn't get out of bed. It was horrendous. And I tried everything except for surgery and for narcotic medications, because I don't do that sort of thing. But everything else, and nothing was working.
And
Until
you were a doctor yourself, right? You've been you were a doctor for 55 years. So when even a doctor had back pain and saying, I don't want surgery, I don't want medication, I got to find another solution. So then what happened?
Well, okay, I tried everything, chiropractic manipulation and everything, until one day I was at a conference with a friend of mine, Mary Allen, and as I was sitting down, my back suddenly jolted, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I said, my sacroiliac joints are killing me. And he says, oh, come to see me. I'll do prolotherapy on you. I said, prolo what? And he essentially said, well, all I'm doing is I'm essentially helping your ligaments that are holding your joints together to rebuild themselves by creating little irritations where they attach on the bone. And I said, okay. It's a lot of needles, but it's sugar water, or ozone, or it's platelets. It's not a big thing. So he put those in, and he did 3 treatments a month apart, because each treatment causes your body to create scar tissue in your ligaments, and the scar tissue reinforces them. The ligaments hold the joints together.
Yeah. So a lot of back pain came from the ligaments weakening and then people having to put more strain on their back. That makes sense.
Well, the thing is that, and that part of your back is totally ignored by all the doctors. I mean, 90% of all low back pain is called non-specific, which we don't know. And the reason they don't know is that that joint is invisible. And it's the joint that joins your pelvic bones to the base of your spine. And the reason they are not seen is because they're your body's main shock absorbers. Your hip joints are inside your pelvic bones. So every step you take jolts those bones. And so the joint that joins the base of the spine and the pelvic bone is a shock absorber, your body's shock absorber. So instead of being smooth like every other joint, they're full of bumps and hollows. And if they're full of bumps and hollows, they are invisible to X-rays, CT scans, or MRIs. And therefore, we don't know. And so I figured, after that 3 prolotherapy treatments, I was feeling better. I was so happy. I got a year of no back pain, and then it came back. And so I had more prolotherapy, but then I was I had a lot of patients who I was sending to Dr. Allen, and he said, well, I'm retiring now. And I said, you can't do this. What am I going to do with all these people who are suffering? And he said, well, I'll teach you. So he taught me prolotherapy. I started doing it. I started doing research on it. And then, but I decided that I would limit myself to just people who had pain. And at the same time, prolotherapy is expensive because you have to pay for the materials and you have to take time and so on. And I thought, I've got to find another way to relieve my pain and to relieve their pain. And so then I figured out, well, why is it that we have so much pain where these pelvic bones are near the spine, you know, hooking on to the base of the spine? And then it occurred to me that we're the only animals in the whole world that don't carry half their weight on their forepaws.
Right. We're standing erect, so it puts more pressure on our back.
We're
Absolutely.
sitting, and the pressure isn't on our back, it is on our pelvic bones. It's
Right.
pushing them away from the base of the spine where they attach. And those ligaments that are trying to hold them are so stressed. In fact, there are more ligaments trying to hold these joints than any other joint in the body because they're under so much stress.
That makes perfect sense. So what was the solution? How did you turn that around for yourself and for so many other people?
Would you like me to show you? What I did was I felt these little things here. Can you see my fingers moving?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
These, you see, this is the whole top of the pelvic bones. And
So when you feel, you know, like when you guys stand up and the part that hurts and it's that little part that's protruding, the pelvic bone, right? You can feel it, like you guys take a second, you can feel it right now. You can feel it through your clothes even. And when you push on it, that's the part that's sore, right? So you feel that little part right there. And then
if they're level, then you know there's no problem there. But if one of them is out of place, it means the pelvic bone has moved because that's the top of the pelvic bone. So it's either moved forward or moved backwards. Once you know that, you know how to fix yourself. Because if it's too far forward, you're going to push it back. If it's too far backwards, you're going to pull it forward. And so I started doing that. And 90% of all those who had displaced pelvic bones after the 2-minute exercise ended up pain-free, totally pain-free. And so, and so
you created this 2-minute exercise, which is, tell us about your book. So the book itself is called, what's your book called?
It's called Low Back Pain, 3 Steps to Relief in 2 Minutes.
So you don't need surgery. You don't need addictive pain medicine. You need this 2-minute exercise. And it's unbelievable, you guys. I have done it personally. I've met her in person. I have seen and witnessed her doing this to people all over the planet. It's incredible. And every single one of you has the ability to fix that low back pain, right? No matter how much, if it keeps coming back, you can do this. So we're going to show you that you've got the book, and then you also have a special gift besides the book that is actually going to show them this video, right? How to do it. So how they get in touch with you, so obviously you guys should get the book because it's a really quick fix and you need to understand a little bit more about it to be able to do it. But then how can they get access to that famous 2-minute video?
Oh, that's very easy. All they have to do is go to Dr. Helene Bertrand. This is
drhelenebertrand.com. We're going to put that link here in the chat for you guys. You'll be able to watch that 2-minute video and start doing it immediately. And more importantly, you'll be able to teach other people. This is so cool. And then the other thing I thought was interesting too is through this journey of healing your own pain after, what was it, 27 years, I think you said? 37 years.
7 years of pain.
37 years of living with low back pain. This is just remarkable. Like now everybody I know lives pain-free. Not only am I getting them your book, but I've also gotten them your QR cream. So tell us a little bit about that too. This is another piece to the puzzle here.
Well, essentially, I was going to these meetings, and this doctor from New Zealand was, and this is a tube of my cream, by the way. This doctor from New Zealand was showing how you could inject around nerves some sugar solution, and immediately the pain or the itch goes away, it disappears. And I thought that was great. I went back, but I had a lot of diabetics with peripheral neuropathy, like where the nerves are being destroyed by too much sugar, and I couldn't give them sugar around their nerves. That was terrible. And I invented a sugar with one OH added to it. It's half a water molecule. It's called mannitol. And so I started injecting that around nerves. Same results. Even before the needle was out of the skin, the pain or the itch was totally gone. But this pharmacist was looking at me. Her name was Marilyn Kiriazis, and she said, you know, like, I've never seen pain or itch go away so fast, but people don't like needles. Why don't we make it into a cream? And I said, sure, let's make it into a cream. And and so we tried 16 different bases before we found one that could cross the mannitol through the skin so it could reach the nerves. Because what it does, and I've proven that, is it shuts down the messages for pain or itch that the nerves are sending to the brain. So essentially it shuts them up. And
And it's not, it doesn't have, like, there's a lot of chemicals in things like Icy Hot and some of these other things that are on the market that are designed to stop pain because they're like burning your skin. So it's changing the receptors to where you don't feel the pain because now you're like, ow, this is, my skin's on fire, right? We've all tried some of those things. So there's not toxic ingredients or things that are going to actually burn your skin or harm your skin, but it instantly stops the pain. Like you can put it anywhere and it stops the pain on your knee, on your back, on your arm. I have things where my skin breaks out all the time and I get hives. I just get like this thing that's just allergy that started in the last few months. And I've started putting the cream on there and it goes away without having to take allergy medication as well. So I really recommend this cream if you guys haven't tried it. It's another topical solution and a chance to actually help solve your pain above and beyond the book and the exercise. So that's so awesome. Congratulations, Dr. Helene. So proud of you.
well, if people go to qrcream.com, they don't only learn about the cream, they also learn about all the different ways you can fix yourself. For instance, if you've got sore knees, how to make your own orthotics out of Kleenex and duct tape so you can actually straighten out your feet so that you don't have foot pain or knee pain or thigh pain. There's all kinds of things that I've essentially organized so that people can help themselves.
And I love this. You're such a renegade. So you can imagine she gets kicked out of things all the time because there's a lot of doctors and people that make a lot of money off people being in pain that aren't a big fan of what you're doing.
The reason I started to write the book was that I was kicked out of the Canadian Pain Society when they presented this woman who walked in, and I knew her pain was coming. Well, she had 20 years of low back pain, and I knew her pain was coming from her sacroiliac joints, just the way she was walking. And so I put up my hand and I said, did anybody check the level of her sacroiliac joints? And there was total silence. And then I said, well, if you know the level, then you know how to fix it. And it only takes 2 minutes. They shut me out of the Zoom. And the next day, they made me sign a paper that I would never mention this again. I mean, these are doctors, physiotherapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. These are all the people, massage therapists. These are all the people who deal with pain. And I couldn't understand if I was telling them how to relieve low back pain in 2 minutes, that they wouldn't be interested. But then I tried to intervene again in September, and the president of the Canadian Pain Society emailed me and said that I was no longer admitted to their meetings, either in person or in Zoom. And so at that point, I decided to write my book. And that's
And
what
that became the motivation, right? Isn't that amazing? Sometimes when people tell you what not to do, what you can't do, it'll motivate you to do bigger, better things to make the world a better place and help people live pain-free. And I, for one, am glad you didn't give up, that you didn't get shut down, because it's a tricky game when you're trying to offer alternative medicine or helping people live a pain-free life. And everybody's been sold on you have to do surgery and you've got to have prescription narcotic medication instead of actually getting to the root of the pain and solving it. We do the same thing on an emotional level with therapy and things like that, where you can go to therapy for 25 years and still have the same problem because you're not getting to the root of the issue. Nothing against doctors or therapists. Don't send your hate mail to me. I'm just saying, I'm a recovering therapist. I know I've been there, but I will tell you that it's like, this is so revolutionary and it's so simple. And I love the fact that you just made it so easy. It's a short read. You've got the pain cream. You've got the 2-minute exercise. You've got everything covered. So you guys don't have to live in pain anymore. I love it.
and
So, oh, go
all
ahead.
know about it.
What's that?
I want the whole world to know about it.
Well, I appreciate you. And here's the thing, you're a retired doctor, 55 years. You don't even have your license anymore. You could just be retired, traveling the world with your amazing husband. You're both living in your 80s. You're living pain-free. You're, snow skiing with your whole family in Canada at Whistler. Like, I'm just amazed at the active lifestyle. And you are definitely the poster child for living a great quality of life at any age or stage, pain-free. Like, it's amazing. So I can vouch for you and have met you in person and have spent time with you and have watched you instantly be able to do this with people all over the place. So I think it's amazing. And I'm so glad that you're here and we're able to get this out and share it with the world. So congratulations. Is there anything else you want to share with our readers today, or any other special offer that you want to share with them for the launch?
Well, essentially, you know that you can get a copy of How to Relieve Your Own Back Pain if you go to drhelenebertrand.com. And I'd love to tell you that I had some calling cards made for this launch. And I went to the man because I wanted the cards made. And he said, I've had this horrible back pain. He knew I was writing this book. I said, had this horrible back pain for years. I can't even get up out of a chair anymore, and so on. And I said, well, then let's fix it. And in 2 minutes, he was fixed. And so he gets into a chair, stands up. He's amazed. He's so happy. When I came to get my cards, he gave them to me. And I said, well, how much are they? And he said, do you know how much money you've saved me from physiotherapists and chiropractors? He said, I'm so glad I can just give you something in exchange. And that was it.
And he gave you free business cards. I love it. Well, thank you so much for everything you do, Dr. Helene. Congratulations on your book. You've got your ebook, your print book. You're on your way. You're getting it out there to so many people. I'm really, really, really thrilled for you. Thank you again for being here and for all that you do to contribute to helping people live a pain-free life. We appreciate you so much. And good luck with the launch and getting your book out there. I know you're going to be crushing it every chance you get.
Thank you, Melanie, for helping me so much to get everything done.
Absolutely. All right. And one more book I want to share with you. This is called Culture Spin. All right. This is about, everything. If you've ever been in if you've ever had culture shock, right? Okay, let me do this is a bigger view of the book. This is Dr. Kristina Wachter. Christy couldn't be here with us today, but it's called Culture Spin, your 4-step toolkit for global leadership and cross-culture success. Okay. How many of you have ever gone to another country and experienced culture shock, right? If you go to London and you look the wrong way, you could get hit by a bus. So having that knowledge before you go might actually help save your life. Did you know that if you show the bottom of your foot or the bottom of your shoe in the Middle East, it's a very offensive thing to people? Did you know in Canada, in China, if you show up at a meeting and you have swag, you have like a little, coffee mug, which all of us Americans do, or pens with your logo on them, that's actually not considered a gift. It's actually kind of offensive to them. Did you know that there are certain countries where if you chew gum, it's illegal, right? If you're a woman, you're not allowed to drive still. So imagine if you're trying to go to another country and you're trying to visit as a tourist, or better yet, you're trying to grow a business globally and you're trying to take an American and plug them into Japan, or you're trying to take an executive from China and plug them into Canada. What are the cultural differences? And what is it costing you not to know those things? Right? Culture is defined. It could be the culture within our organization. It could be the equity, diversity, and inclusion of different people on our team that have different cultures. And it could mean the physical culture of growing from one place to another. And I want you guys to just put in the chat, okay? How much money do you think companies spend on average? These are corporations moving an employee from point A to point B. Strictly just moving from here to there, it's actually $3 to $5 million. That's how big the investment is. And yet, if they don't spend the time and do the assessment to help that person acclimate, right, they could lose millions of dollars. So I've experienced this firsthand when we were in India speaking at a very sacred ashram, and we had a speaker who was on that stage who was wearing something like a bright red dress, and it offended some of the people in the ashram, especially the men that were very sacred. This was a very special, sacred moment. They got so upset. They were screaming and yelling when she was trying to talk. The whole thing got shut down. And the police came up to us and said, by the way, you need to leave right now because your lives are at stake. Simply because she didn't get the memo about what not to wear in India to an ashram. Like, you would never imagine that these things would happen, but they happen every day. So Christy is a specialist. She's a professor at a major university. She teaches this. She is the founder and CEO of Cross-Cultural Connections, and she is a cross-cultural strategist. She's spoken all over the world and teaching people about how to absorb or avoid culture shock and how to help understand all of these things before you get on the plane, before you make your trip, and works with consumers and businesses and enterprise to help make that cultural connection a lot stronger. She also has her cultural spin method, and she's developed that. And so if you go to crosscultureconnections.com, crosscultureconnections.com, then Kristina, Dr. Kristina, is going to give you her free gift as well. If you get her book in the next 24 hours during this launch, you've got ebook and print. You have plenty of opportunities to connect with Dr. Christie. So please take advantage of that and also get her book at the launch price as well. So thank you again so much, all of you, for being here. Quick reminder, if you want to write a book, if you need help, we have so many resources and support, from free trainings, free resources, all the way to step-by-step people like ghostwriters and book coaches that will help you along your journey. We're going to meet you where you are, look at what you have, what your idea is, help you figure out how to get your book finished, how to get it formatted, edited, get your cover design, all the steps it takes to self-publish your book and launch it, especially to becoming a best-selling author. And then how do you take that book and use your book to get booked on stages to speak, or in the media, or on a maybe you want to get on more high ticket client coaching calls and you want to use it as a client conversion model, or a list builder to get more clients. There's so much you can do, you guys, with your book. It all begins and ends with a book. Books change lives. They save lives. And I want you to think about in your own life, if you read a book and something that just transformed something for you. And today you've met 5 amazing authors and you've heard their stories and you've learned all these things that are possible, that before this you didn't even know about low back pain, right? You didn't even understand how you could be a better leader in your family. You heard Freddie's story of what he had to overcome after being shot as a teenager, and how he's using now his book and his story to impact millions of people all over the world, and how Freddie's story is impacting young adults, maybe even your child, right, who's going to school and hearing this story and is being inspired to be better and live better, like the story he shared. So this is why we do what we do. We want you to have a place to come where if you need to overcome something and work through something in your own life, you have the ability to come in and get a book. You can get a course. You can even work with all of these people as a mentor, and they will help you walk you through your own challenge so that you never have to walk that journey alone. You've got resources, you've got support, and you've got people that are rooting for you. So that's who we want to be in your life and your business, and help you get to the next level and become the better version of yourself. That's why we call our company Defining Moments Press. And I can't wait to share more with you guys. So go to the website if you need more information on any of these books or authors or what we do. Make sure you're supporting them. Check out the links below. Click on the links, take advantage of all the free gifts and the free offers. I'm going to unmute you guys so you can say goodbye as we're wrapping up today. Congratulations again to all of you. Best of luck on your author journey, and so proud of you all. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Melanie.
Thank you, Melanie.
Absolutely. All right. And thank you all for joining us. And again, take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.